The mission of the Texas State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners is to establish and enforce policies to ensure the best possible quality of veterinary and equine dental provider services for the people of the state of Texas. Y'all please stand with me and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Whitehead, can you call roll for us today?
Yes, sir. Dr. Gola,
Here.
Dr. Kreider,
Here.
Victoria Whitehead present, Dr. Skaggs,
Present.
Miss Sue Allen,
Here.
Mr. Pardue. Is he not there? I can't see.
He's not here.
Okay, Miss Olivier,
Here.
Dr. McLeod,
Present.
Dr. Muchigamba.
Here. Okay, our only absence is Keith Pardue. Okay, item 2 on our agenda is consideration and approval of the October 2025 minutes. Is there a motion for such?
I move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the October 2025 board meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, minutes are approved. All right, we're going to move into our item 3, public comments. Please be advised that comments must be limited to 3 minutes. Dr. Kreiner will keep our timer. If you hear the timer, please wrap them up. Additionally, the board will not hear public comments on testimony regarding a pending disciplinary action or contested case. We're going to start with our virtual comments first. And do I have a Jennifer Laverie? No, not present. Okay. Suzanne Blakely.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, you may begin. You have 3 minutes. Thank you for being here.
I'm here to discuss the dismissal of my complaint against Ren Johnson of Dogwood Animal Hospital in Longview. He was dishonest during the informal conference, saying that I had denied insulin treatment for my 6-year-old Rottweiler, Sophie. I did not decline insulin. His own patient charts show that the only thing I denied was euthanizing Sophie. I spent 3 days at the ER before taking her to Dogwood, getting her blood sugar regulated and insulin treatments. I wouldn't spend $1,200 to get her insulin, to get her blood sugar levels regulated and then go to him the next day and decline it. So he was dishonest with you. He was dishonest to me by saying that she had a heart condition when actually I get there and she was comatose. He also said he couldn't do surgery because her red blood cell count was too low. After talking to multiple other vets, 5.7 is barely low, and it wouldn't have prevented them from doing the surgery. So he has been very dishonest and unprofessional multiple times. During his hospitalization care of Sophie, he did not give her pain meds, antibiotics, or insulin. And she passed away at the Vet on 4th, where I rushed her to next. The Vet on 4th does have on their record that I declined insulin on October 29th, but that was a typo. I don't know if I said it. It was a clerical error or what. But on 10/29 is when she was admitted to the ER for insulin. So he is being dishonest. So I hope you relook at this case. I sent proof to Ms. Phelps, and she said she would put it in with my complaint. So I hope you take time to look at that and reconsider the dismissal. Because if he's dishonest with you, you can see where I'm going with this. But anyway, I appreciate y'all listening to me today and letting me talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blakely. Are there any other virtual comments? Being none, we're going to move on to our public testimony, and we will start with Ms. Anita Ross. And again, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Anita Ross, and I appear today on behalf of my sweet pirate and on behalf of every Texas citizen who expects this board to protect the public, not the provider. Under the Texas Veterinary Licensing Act, Texas Occupational Code, Chapter 801, and your own rules of professional conduct, pirates' preventable death is more than a tragedy. It is evidence of systemic failure. The record shows credible documented evidence of substandard treatment, neglect, and multiple violations. Yet this board chose not to act. Reflects purposeful mishandling, not oversight, a deliberate failure of process and responsibility. When credible evidence is buried, when complaints disappear, and when the legal department refuses to compel records or testimony, this is no longer negligence, it is collusion. The Veterinary Licensing Act grants this board the authority to act, to open investigations, subpoena records, and compel testimony, and impose discipline. To ignore those powers is to betray the law itself. Transparency is not optional. It is a foundation of lawful governance. My complaint process, which I filed on April the 20th, 2020, case CP 2247, has been rife with corruption. My informal conference on October the 4th, 2021 was a travesty. Multiple violations were identified by DME Investigator 1 Dawkins. Kay Farazano Singletary, DVM, and her attorney, veterinarian Donald Farrell, both refused to cooperate with the investigation as required by the board rules. Additional egregious violations were documented by Mr. Dawkins. Despite this, I received an email from Brittany Sharkey, legal counsel, stating that the board, quote, found no violation, unquote, and chose to disregard the documented facts. I have repeatedly requested the statutory required notice under 801208C, notification of complainant regarding complaint disposition, and have been ignored. Former legal counsel John Hargis, with his input from Ms. Sharkey, drafted a letter dated November the 10th, 2022. This letter was issued 402 days after my informal conference and does not accurately reflect the events that occurred. Pirate's life cannot be restored, but the truth can be uncovered. Either this board cooperates with independent oversight or it confirms what the public already suspects, that the system is protecting itself, not the citizens and animals of Texas. The board may believe it operates with autonomous power, but the opposite is true. You are accountable to every citizen and animal in Texas, not to privileged veterinarians or insiders who mistake position for immunity.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Okay, next up will be Layla Krishechi.
Honorary board members, I'm Layla. I'm the owner of my public property, private property Button, my cat. And I'm here because of several issues. First of all, I believe the issue of law here is not whether Button's doing great, as your expert veterinarian turned around and said. That note, Button's doing great, was added to the case, like added to the notes a year later. I have the original notes from the doctor, and nowhere in there does she say Button's doing great. So he bases his case on that line, which I have a written statement by the doctor that says she added that later. So, I can't enter new evidence into this, but I want you to consider that that was added later. Second of all, this is a case of res ipsa loquitur. We are here to see whether or not she gave my cat the wrong medicine, the medicine that I had told that veterinary clinic and her personally not to give him. And she did that. This is her second offense. The first time we went to her with Button, she gave him the wrong shot, and I let that go. When you have a second offense, and this time it's the very medicine that killed my other cat, and she knew about this, and I told her never to give it to him, and she had told me she thought I didn't like her, Then you wonder, was this intentional? That she went, took him in the back, gave him a shot of steroids that I had told her personally not to. And then her claim is, oh, it was only in the computer notes. I hadn't put it in my hand notes. That's her own statement to your veterinarian. And so, yeah, I did give him the steroid shot. Unfortunately, it wasn't in my notes, but it should have been in her notes. That's her fault. So you have a second offense. You have somebody who is not following procedure. They are not doing their due diligence. She did not confer with me either time whether it was okay with me to give these shots to my cat. The first time I'd seen her, it's in all your records. You should have that. I had taken him in for antibiotics. She gave him antihistamine. Like I said, I didn't file with you guys over that because first offense, I said maybe she made a mistake. Cat didn't die. Okay. Second time, she takes him in the back for 45 minutes and she gives him steroids. And that did affect him. And if he wasn't sick, we wouldn't have gone into the next. I didn't even know what she'd given him, by the way. I asked her, what did you give my cat? She said, same as last year. She slammed the door on his carrier. He fell to the ground and she stormed out. And I called in a week later, said, the cat's not doing well. He's acting like the cat that I had that died from steroids. They said, well, it's probably because she gave him steroids. I said, doesn't it say never give him steroids? Oh, yes, it does, but she did it. She doesn't like you. Come on. We're dealing with a veterinarian that's not following her duty of care, her due diligence, not whether or not Button's doing great today, which again, those notes were changed by Dr. Honing. She admitted to me, I made her put it in writing, and I have a witness who's the president of a Siamese rescue, and she'd gone with me. She knew Button wasn't doing great, so she wrote an affidavit. All those damages are for civil court. We'll go there. What we're here for today is for you to decide whether or not she was following her duty of care. And she wasn't, because she admits she wasn't. She gave him the medicine she wasn't supposed to. Thank you for your time. I hope you consider this. And if you need the evidence, I have it, if I can still give it to you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Trent Hightower. No comments? Are there any other public comments? Yes. Hearing none, we are going to skip and not entertain agenda item number 4 to executive session, and we will move on to number 6, which is our reports from our leadership. So, Brittany?
Thank you, Dr. Gola. Happy actual New Year. I know we just celebrated the state New Year at our last meeting, but this is the actual calendar New Year. So I hope everyone had a lovely holiday season. So first up, you will notice that today's agenda is a little bit long. We've got a special session tacked on to the end of this. So we are getting our strategic planning process started. I know it just feels like we wrapped the 2025 legislative session, but we are already planning for the 2027 session. So our management team actually met with the facilitator, Erin Bryan, in December to help kick things off. You'll hear a little bit more about that today. You will be meeting with her later. We have scheduled virtual town halls for February 11th and March 11th. That announcement went out in our newsletter on Friday, and that'll allow members of the public to hear agency updates and provide us with feedback. We also are in the process of crafting a survey that will be sent out to anybody on our mailing list that they can also then provide input that way. The plan is to have a draft strategic plan ready for your review and approval at the April meeting. That strategic plan will help us inform the legislative appropriations request, which will then is on track to be reviewed and approved by you all at our July board meeting. So next up, we have some rule review updates. The Rules Committee has been really hard at work on Chapter 573, which is our standards of professional conduct. That's kind of the big meaty chapter with a lot of really great content. It was originally slated to be discussed at the January board meeting, but I think given some rewrites and us wanting to do our due diligence and really present a full final draft, we're going to push that back to the April board meeting. Our hope is to be able to allow more time to solicit input from the board as well as the public prior to bringing it to a meeting for potential proposal. We will still be able to stay on track with our goal to complete that this fiscal year. We'll go ahead and approve and look at chapters 577 and 575, and 577 at our July meeting. Because those are shorter chapters with a lot less content, we feel that we can combine those and still be on track. We are continuing, moving on to our database. The complaint module is now fully operational, which is really exciting. We are working with our in-house systems administrator to just keep making tweaks and improvements as time goes on. And we are still looking for a vendor to help with cloud storage so that all of our enforcement files can live within the database, just really creating one seamless system. But we anticipate having that done by the end of the fiscal year. We've gotten some really promising contacts from DIR that we are working with to see if we can't get that live. But Mike and his team will tell you that it has been a real game changer for the enforcement team and the legal team to really just be able to have full comprehensive complaint tracking through our database. I shared at our last meeting that actually now members of the public can check their complaint status online now as well, hopefully reducing some calls just for status checks. So a lot of really exciting things happening on the tech front at the agency. The other exciting thing, we have a lot of staffing updates to announce. Kristen Stavro, our staff attorney, has been promoted to our chief of staff. She will be assuming that role February 1st. She's going to be leading long-term project management for the agency, overseeing board and broader agency communications and outreach. This is a really exciting next step for us as we continue to professionalize and grow our team and really move the agency into the 21st century. Caroline Tackett, our executive assistant, is being promoted to an accountant role in the agency. This really represents a shift in the amount and complexity of the transactions that the agency is handling, that we need to grow our finance staff to make sure that we are handling all of that appropriately. Brittany Gaines, in her role as staff services officer, will be the board's new primary point of contact for any of your travel needs. So that's kind of what that'll mean for y'all. We have 2 current job openings. The one that we are really excited about is we are hiring a second staff veterinarian. So with the shift in SB 2155, with our ability to issue cease and desist orders from the executive director without having to take them to SOA, our SOA docket has really diminished, and we don't have really the workload for a second staff attorney. So when we have promoted Kristen, we are not going to backfill that role. We are actually going to shift that to a staff veterinarian to help deal with the massive influx of cases and complaints that we are seeing. We're noticing that that's kind of the next big bottleneck in how we're dealing with cases, that we do have a lot of cases awaiting medical review. And while Dr. Mixon is doing an absolutely fantastic job, it is too much for one person to keep up with. So freeing that FTE and shifting that over to a staff veterinarian is really going to help us make sure that we're keeping up with that demand. So that also announcement went out in our newsletter. If you know any fantastic veterinarians looking for my biased opinion, a great place to work, send them our way. I think it's a great job, and Dr. Mixon, I think, would share in that sentiment. So really excited about that. And additionally, we are still looking for a licensing specialist to fill the role left by Cassidy Miller last fall. So if anyone knows anybody great, we have 2 openings and would love to welcome them. So bring it on down. Additionally, this was not in my written report, but I did want to share that we had a checkup with the SAO, the state auditor's office, for our outstanding audit items. They were basically just checking on anything that was outstanding from our audit from 2 years ago, and I'm really happy to report that we had full completion there. So really exciting that we were able to check off a lot of the boxes that were left unchecked were things that were solved by the database coming on board. And so they came to us in the summer before the database went live that August. And so it was really nice to just check off a lot of those boxes finally and say, we promise it's coming in August, but now we are finally there and operational. So really exciting times around the agency. So today I'm also playing Kelly and Candace, but I will shift it over to Wendy and we'll go in our normal order, but just if you hear from me again, that's why.
Hello, everyone. The licensing team is reporting for the first quarter, September, October, November. So these numbers are only for those months. For new licenses issued, we issued 107 new DVM licenses, 75 LVT licenses, and 3 equine dental provider licenses, for a total of 185 new licenses issued in those 3 months, the first quarter. As far as renewals issued, we renewed 2,634 DVM licenses, 602 LVT licenses, and 14 EDP licenses, for a total of 3,250 licenses renewed in the first quarter. As far as active agency license counts, we're counting as active those whose license is in one of the following statuses: active, expired, inactive, suspended, and probated suspended. We're not counting revoked, retired, surrendered, deceased, or canceled. So as far as those numbers, the total active agency license counts as of November 30th, 2025, were 12,028 DVM licenses, 3,004 LVT licenses, and 67 EDP licenses for our first quarter end total of 15,099 active licenses, which is plus 773 licenses since the first quarter last year. This concludes the licensing report. Are there any questions?
And y'all, I'm sorry, I didn't ask for questions either. So if you have questions for me or Wendy,
Any questions?
yes.
Hey, Brittany.
Yeah.
You mentioned medical reviews kind of stacking up. In the meantime, until we get somebody hired, do you think it'd be beneficial for us to go back to the old fashioned way of a few board members, veterinarians looking over those cases, a few of those cases to relieve some of the burden, or do you think that's necessary at this point?
So the challenge we have is that I think it's kind of you're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, because then we lose folks that can sit in on those IC panels. And you're basically gonna have backlogs sort of either way. And so it's a question of, do we want fewer people able to sit in on ICs because they're doing the medical reviews? No, it's a little bit of that question. And I will tell you, so the posting went live on Friday. We've had almost 500 people look at that page
Oh,
already.
good, good.
So I think I'm really optimistic that we're gonna be able to make that hire sooner rather than later. Obviously we wanna
Well,
hire harder, hire smarter, but I think we're gonna be able to get somebody in here in the next couple months in pretty short
Certainly.
order.
Time consuming, unless we need to do that.
We can.
I think we can.
Yeah.
And a question for Dr. Gold. Dr. Gold, we used to do an executive director evaluation where we sang the praises of our executive director. I think, do we still do that as a group? We used to fill a form. We had a form and then we met as a group and then spoke with the executive director. I'd like to get some very good evaluations on her record so that when it comes time to give her vast sums of money, we can do that.
Correct me, Doug, if I'm wrong, but since we were attached to TDLR, that duty became the responsibility of TDLR.
Okay.
So I think you bring up a good point. As we transition back to us, we should probably come up with a standard operating procedure for that. In August 2027, that will then become this board's responsibility again. Am I speaking incorrectly, Doug, or is that?
No, Dr. Gola, and thank you for the question, Dr. Skaggs. And I'll speak with our executive director about your question. And we'll report back.
Okay. Well, sometimes I think it gets lost in the shuffle when we don't tell her what a good job she's doing.
But I do
Good
think
job.
you bring up a good point that we should have an operating procedure for that going forward.
Yes, yeah, SB 1414, our sunset review, did put my sort of performance in the hands of TDLR and the executive director over at TDLR, but we can definitely set that up for our October 2027 meeting, and y'all can.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and any further questions for myself or Wendy, and I'll ask again at the end of the reports too. Okay, great. All right, Mike with enforcement.
Good morning, everybody. First quarter, we reached some very high goals. On the complaint side, we brought in 358 complaints. So we're still averaging 100 plus every month. Out of them 358, 91 of them were non-jurisdictional. Like rudeness, they were complaining on staff, not veterinarians, so on. And in that first quarter, we actually completed 434 cases that we turned in and either sent to medical review or to legal. In that quarter, we performed 452 inspections, and out of that, we opened 20 complaints. So the first quarter was a big quarter for us. In the week of December, we had our enforcement annual training, which we do annually, and all the investigators came in across the state, spent a week in Austin. We received training from in-house, in investigations, in inspections. We received refresher training on SOA cases from our in-house legal division. We had guest lectures from TDLR, USDA, Texas Animal Health, DEA. Those were the outside that came in and presented different lectures to our investigators. So it's been a big quarter. Still today, our highest number of complaints in that first quarter, there were 133 standard of care allegations. And then it was followed up with, patient records with 24 cases, prescribing, dispensing medications, 23 cases, and then, there were 17 cases, practicing, vet medicine without a license. So, we started using the Salesforce application September the 1st. And what I would tell you, working with technology versus without it makes a big difference. And the noticeable difference, September 1, we had somewhere roughly 450 open cases that were under investigation. Right now, today, at this minute, we have 190. So when you have a computer application, you have the technology. I would also tell you that application was built in-house. And I would probably say we saved the state of Texas several $1 million by building that in-house without having to hire a vendor to do it. So that was a huge savings. I've purchased software programs in the past at my previous agencies, and it's unbelievable what was done. And that thing was built in 3 months and not over 30 years, which is what happens when you go to outside vendors. So
Who did
it
that
is,
development for us?
sir,
Who did that?
Our in-house systems administrator, Femi,
Wow.
he came
right?
to us with pretty extensive Salesforce background and was able to just really help Mike and his team customize it and make sure it met all of their needs.
He needs to follow
Right, so
that.
we had a
Sell that
3-member
boards.
team, which consisted of Juan Dawkins, Femi, who did all the IT programming, and myself. And we would meet 2 or 3 times a week, but we got it stood up. All the complaints are received digitally. There's no more PDFs or Word documents and email file transfers and e-drive. It's been a great success. And when you see the numbers, another telltale sign is September 1, every investigator was assigned over 50 cases each. I think our top one had 59. They're all down around 20 cases each right now. And that's because of the technology, when you don't have it versus what you can do with it. So I know in the past we had talked about, do we need more people? Do we not need more people? I'm here to tell you with the technology, and it's working. I think we are where we need to be today. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to entertain any questions. And Dr. Skaggs, I would love a ton of money also.
The number of complaints, I know we kind of bumped up, monthly. There for a
Yes, sir.
while, we were under 100, and it kind of bumped up over 100, 110, 120. Is that continuing to grow, or have we leveled off?
So right now for the month of January, we are at 77 cases. And the best thing about our system is I can give you live data right now. So if we received a complaint at the last minute, the application updates itself. So September, we had 119 complaints come in. The following month, 157. November, we dropped down to 82, and then in December, we went up to 17. So we've been over November. I don't know what happened. It dropped down to 82, but we're probably going to be over 100 for the month, just looking at the way the complaints are coming in.
Thank you.
Mr. Tucker, I have a question about the non-jurisdictional cases. And maybe, Brittany, you can corroborate or explain this. Did we not get permission or approval in the last session to dismiss the non-jurisdictional before they had to go like into medical review, which kind of clogs the system? Or is there an issue there with deciding whether it's non-jurisdictional or not?
So we are doing that. So you get a spreadsheet with my report each quarter showing the cases that were dismissed as non-jurisdictional. And so any of those that come in, and you can see kind of the, reasoning there, either with it's a statute of limitations issue, it's strictly customer service. If there is a question, if there is a potential that it could be an actual violation of the rule and it's just not clearly stated in the complaint, we err on the side of investigating it just to make sure that we are, kind of hearing out the complainant, making sure that there isn't an issue there. So a lot of those cases are being funneled out before they get to you. So that relief valve is there. We were given that in the 2023 legislative session. So you get that report. So those cases are not, they're given sort of an initial evaluation by the enforcement team. If it's patently non-jurisdictional, we go ahead and dismiss it at the staff level. But if there's even kind of a question, we do then send it up for an investigation.
Right. And then those are the ones that we generally will see in the dismissals.
Yes.
And we still, on the front end, we still call and interview the complainants. We vet what we have, we verify if there's any additional stuff. And then if there's any question, we'll kick it over for legal review. And so that all happens within a week. Because we still gotta make that phone call, we still gotta look at any evidence that's been presented. And then some of them may require legal review. I would say about 75% of them do not. And then we go ahead and close them out and send notice, which y'all see at every board meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Tacker?
Thank you.
Right. Let's see. Okay, I will play Kelly and give you all the legal update. As of this meeting, there are 301 complaints currently in legal. There are 46 pending board IC. There are 87 pending board action, which you will be seeing today. Pending board approval of orders, 39. We have 11 cases on hold pending civil or criminal proceedings, 17 currently awaiting staff conference, 2 cases currently filed at SOA. We have 9 cases waiting for proposal for final decisions at SOA. There are 10 cases pending our SOA filing. We have 33 cases pending cease and desist, which I will again note that number should be going down pretty significantly as we move forward now that we do have the ability to issue cease and desist orders at the staff level without having to take it to SOA. There are 45 cases pending agreed orders, and we have 2 cases pending our licensing committee hearing, which gives us an approximate 177 complaints in legal after this board meeting. Any questions for the legal division? Easy peasy. Jared with the compliance report.
All right, good morning. These statistics for compliance are updated as of January 16th. The compliance department currently has 20 licenses that are being monitored regarding board orders. I'm continuing the task of fingerprint validations, continually done on a daily basis and will continue for years to come. Every licensee will have their fingerprints validated after 5 years to make sure they're still an active licensee per our state and federal regulations and guidelines. Staying on the fingerprint topic, I have viewed 284 total new fingerprints this year so far in fiscal year 26. The compliance department, i.e. me, has fielded 137 phone calls for compliance, licensing, fingerprints, CEs, and general agency related questions from licensees and applicants so far in fiscal year 26. The number of calls continues to decline as more information is now available on our wonderful website, and employees are getting well versed in our agency's rules and regulations, which I appreciate. The compliance department has also assisted our agency with 68 interagency related requests from various departments in fiscal year 2026. And finally, Cs are required to be uploaded upon licensing renewal, and if not, an extension may be granted, with auditing taking place when the extension due dates are expired. This is being tracked in our wonderful new Salesforce database, and compliance so far with these Cs sessions has been impressive. 21 cases for CE non-compliance have been transferred to Mike Tacker and his enforcement team for further investigation at this time. And lastly, I filed 4 complaints for violations of agreed orders this year in 26. And with that, I'll take any questions.
When you evaluate these fingerprints, is it like CSI? You gotta get down dirty and look at every line?
It is. There's a lot to it.
Great, no further questions for Jared. All right. I will go ahead and give the finance report for Candace. As you can see, we are currently 33% of the way through our fiscal year, and we've expended 26% of our budget. And we've brought in about $1.4 million in revenue so far for the fiscal year. So we are on track and ahead in a very healthy position going into the rest of our fiscal year. Also attached to Candace's report is our operating budget. That is a report that we submit annually. While it sounds, I know what an operating budget is in the private sector, this is a very specific report that we submit annually, and it shows essentially our actual expenditures by category for the previous 2 fiscal years, as well as what our appropriations bill gives us for the upcoming fiscal year. So there's not really, it's a factual report without a lot of, there's no really room for us to put in our own information in there, but it just kind of shows you how we're trending. So some interesting information there, but just wanted to make sure that y'all had that for your records if there were any questions on that.
Brittany, I would just like to add for the board members, we didn't meet as a finance committee, and I know we're gonna have our committee reports coming up, but for the board members and their perspective, I actually reviewed this extensively with Brittany, and bless her heart, pinged her with a ton of questions. So super happy as the finance chair with this report, and kind of where we're at fiscally as a board.
Thank you. All right, any questions? All right, that concludes the director reports, Dr. Gold.
Okay,
If there
there's
are
no
no
further
questions.
questions for Brittany or Pete. Okay, hearing none, we're gonna move on to agenda item 7, board committee reports. I'll start just with some brief comments from the executive committee. I think this last quarter, we were really focused on working through the cases that we've got, and we'll continue to, I think, make great progress with that. I had asked each board member to really look at their schedules to see where they could commit to IC panel participation. I feel like we're gaining some traction there, and so I want to thank y'all for doing that. I have asked Kelly and Brittany to try to look out throughout the remaining months of the year to see if we can get our dates scheduled much further out than just 30, 60, 90 days, because I know we're all busy. And if we can do that, I ask the staff to please work with us and let's get, through August scheduled so that we can not have a mad dash for who's available and who's not. I'd also like to say thank y'all for the times when somebody can't meet and we've got to find a volunteer to try to fit in because life happens. I mean, things come up where we can't make it because of sickness or illness or doctor's appointments or whatever. And instead of trying to reschedule all the attorneys and veterinarians and the complainants for these things, it's best if somebody else can slide in. And so thank y'all for doing that. So be looking forward to communication from Kelly and Brittany to try to get our schedule for the rest of the year, because we do need everybody to participate. And I think our cadence of 2 IC panels a year has been very, very productive. I also would like to report on the new protocol that we've used for the ICs, where we're doing more of a docket style versus just scheduling them for a specific time of the day. We used to get 8 done a day. Now we're doing 12 plus, and when we're doing a full panel. And I think that's credit to you guys for being able to do that, for willingness to try something new. And I'm very proud of that. And finally, I got the pleasure of meeting with Dr. Bonnie Rush, the new dean at Texas A&M. She had asked me to talk about how we can work together to educate the students about board rules and those types of things. And so it was an honor to get to meet the new dean, and she's wonderful. So with that, any questions for the executive committee report? Okay. Do I have any other committees that would like to report today? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. We'll move to agenda item number 8, consideration and approval of agreed orders. I will recognize Ms. Sharkey on this.
All right. So for agenda item 8, agreed orders, Dr. Gola has asked to be recused from CP 25-686. And I have a request for CP 24-545 to be pulled.
Are there any other cases y'all wish to pull? Not mentioned, okay. Is there a motion to approve all the cases except the pulled for discussion in executive session?
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. For the record, Ms. Whitehead, will you please update the attendance that Keith Pardue joined us? We need to make sure we put that in the record.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Welcome, Keith.
Sorry,
Thank you.
should have done that when you came in. Agenda item number 9, consideration approval of cases for dismissal from informal conference. I recognize Ms. Sharpie.
I have not been advised of any requests for recusals or pulls from this category.
Board members, anything to add? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve all the cases in this category?
Move. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Agenda item 10, consideration and approval of cases recommended for dismissal from staff conference. I recognize Ms. Sharkey.
No, I have no requests for recusals or pulls from this agenda item.
All right, is there a motion to approve these cases?
I move. Approve me.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve these cases dismissal from staff conference. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, agenda item 11, consideration and approval of cases recommended for dismissal from medical review. I recognize Ms. Sharp.
Thank you, Dr. Gola. Dr. Kreiner has asked to be recused on CP 25001 and CP 25034. Dr. Michigamba has been asked to be recused on CP 25516 and CP 25761. Ms. Allen has been asked to be recused on CP 25100 and CP 25244. Additionally, I have requests to pull CP 25006, CP 25013, and CP 25121 for discussion in executive session.
All right, any other cases, board members to add? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve all the cases except for those that were identified to be pulled in executive session?
Move. Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, pursuant to chapter 551.071 subsection 1 of the Texas Government Code, this meeting of the Texas Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners will now go into executive session. It is 9:44 a.m.
And thank you, Dr. Gold. We'll be having it in next room.
Yeah. Okay, do we need to wait for Doug or T?
No, he's
Okay.
stepped down.
One second, I'd ask you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The time is 11:01 a.m. and pursuant to sections 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, the board has returned from executive session. No action was taken during executive session. We return to agenda item 8, where case CP 24545 was pulled. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
It's been moved and approved to, moved and seconded to approve CP 24545. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, we're gonna go to agenda item number 11, medical cases for approval for medical review. And we're gonna start with CP 25006. Do I have a motion?
Move to dismiss. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to dismiss CP 25006. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, from medical review, case CP 25013. Do I have a motion?
Move to dismiss. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to dismiss CP 25013. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Finally, case CP 25121. Do I have a motion?
I move we pull for that case for an informal conference.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pull case CP 25121 for informal conference. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And that gets us to agenda item 13, discussion of possible agenda items. Does anybody have any potential agenda items that they'd like to present for the next board meeting? Okay, hearing none, y'all can always submit those to us in writing via email. So please do that as those come up. All right, and then I just want to announce the board meeting schedule for the rest of 2026 as follows. April 20.